Welcome to the latest edition of the 7 Minutes Podcast. I have lost track of how many we have done. What number is this?
I think this is 19.
Wow.
Wow. Getting closer and closer to drinking age. I am Robert.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Zack.
And we are your hosts of this wonderful production. But as is tradition, before we delve into the topic of the week, let's discuss what we've been playing lately.
Topic of the week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I've been really spending a lot of hours on the Happy Home Designer DLC for Animal Crossing. I knew I'd probably like it. I just didn't expect to like it as much as I do. Just having a lot of fun creating homes. And I really like all the little... the little items, the kind of accessorizing sort of things. It like the big things, the major things like partitions to create individual rooms are cool. But for me, it's also in like making a house feel like a home.
So you get a prompt, right? Essentially, it's framed as you get a client. You're playing interior decorator for this. I was going to say person, but weird little animal critter. And you get kind of like a prompt like my beachside getaway or something.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you have to execute the outdoors and indoors to using... You get like some required pieces and then... So it's almost like you have a deck that you have to play with to make it.
Yeah, so it's interesting because with each home that you do, you unlock more furniture and items that you can use in subsequent homes. So the earlier homes that you do are pretty basic, just kind of one room, one square room, and not a whole lot to work with. I actually didn't realize until maybe like 3 homes in or something like that you could actually change the exterior of the home. Everything, like just like with Tom Nook, when you can customize your own home. I didn't realize you could do that to the outside of the homes. And so that's been a lot of fun too. I still feel like even though I've done a bunch of homes, there aren't a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of outdoor furniture or like garden accessories to work with overall, which is only slightly disappointing because you put so much effort on the inside, you want the outside to look cool too. But I feel like I still have a decent amount to work with on the outside. But yeah, just overall, that's been really fun. And then also, on the island that you work on, they call them facilities, but like I've been tasked with designing a school and a restaurant and a cafe. And so it's been really fun doing those too and being able to get creative, not just with homes, but now with businesses. So yeah, a lot of hours in that. I put down Metroid Dread as a result, just because I've been spending so much time with Animal Crossing, but I've actually been getting the itch to jump back into Metroid, so probably gonna do that this weekend.
When you're Angela, it's hard for anything else to compete with Animal Crossing. This is what I've found. What's
funny too is like Animal Crossing is not my favorite game. I don't even know that Animal Crossing would make it into my top 10. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't even make it into my top 10 of favorite games of all time. And yet I can't get enough of it.
You've played it more than every other game put together in the time that I've known you, I think.
I think so. I think now I'm like, I haven't checked, but last time I checked it was like 1,300 hours into New Horizons. It's probably maybe more like 1,400 now.
Yeah. For my part, I've been continuing to play through various Assassin's Creed games, working through Valhalla right now, and on the go, working through Rogue, since that's available on Switch. These are the last 2 of the mainline Assassin's Creed games, like the main set of 12. Valhalla has been really, really good, I think. I kind of had tempered expectations based on what the Assassin's Creed fandom seems to think of it, but it's got definitely more focus on open combat than the other Assassin's Creed games, and I understand why it's controversial on that count, but I think the open combat's good. I think the combat's better than it has been anywhere else in the series, and there are a number of like big open battles because you're like a Viking, right? So you just like sailing down the river on your longboat, and you're like, hey, look at that, there's a monastery, they probably have a lot of loot. So you just come up to shore, and it's your party of 8 guys just running through and attacking, and it's like a bit of almost like a Dynasty Warriors kind of feel.
Yeah, I guess in retrospect, now that I think about it, it was kind of an odd choice having an Assassin's Creed game set in the world of the Vikings. I don't know or pretend to know very much about Viking history, but it just doesn't really seem like they were very known for the kind of stealth associated with assassins.
Yeah, right. Which has been a complaint, right? As soon as this game got announced, really.
Kind of the polar opposite.
You're the assassin that grunts less than the others.
Yeah, basically.
But I think they do a good job of like working with that. Aside from the fact that there is a lot of open combat, and that's not going to be the taste of everyone who's into Assassin's Creed games, they do a good job of like, you have your own Viking clan, and there is your brother Sigurd had been away in like the Middle East and had come back from there with a couple of mysterious assassin friends. So they kind of teach you how to be stealthy, and they're woven into the plot like that. I think that works pretty well, at least so far. They previously did a pirate game, right? Black Flag is a pirate game. Also,
True.
Not really assassiny, right? Yeah. There's like a little more overlap between, because they're like, pirates are seen as rogues, and like assassins are rogues in kind of like a D&D class sense, right?
Or even Final Fantasy XIV. Start as a rogue, become a ninja.
Yeah.
So in Black Flag, you were the assassin that was the most sober.
You definitely weren't.
Able to more easily weave between the other guys.
But Black Flag also had kind of a setup where you started not as an assassin, you were a pirate. And as the game went on, you kind of found yourself drawn a little more into the world of the assassins. I think Black Flag's probably got a better story so far, but I do like Valhalla's story. I do like the gameplay, and it's just got a really nice atmosphere. Yeah. So I've really been enjoying that. I have less to say about Rogue. Rogue seems less impressive so far. It kind of seems like it's a DLC or a fan game for Black Flag. It's got a lot of the same mechanics, different story, and the story hasn't been as interesting so far. Roberto?
Well, I've been playing Sonic Mania for no apparent reason. I've gotten like really, really, really close to beating that game, like at the very end. And for some reason, the last 2 bits, those last 2 acts, I just have not been able to overcome. But then I just got a random mood for Sonic, and so I started a new file with Knuckles. So I've been going at that pretty hard for like a week now. I'm not quite at the end, but I've been having a lot of fun with it again. What else has been on my radar?
Can I say I really enjoyed Sonic Mania when I played it, and then I got to a water stage.
No.
And look, I don't like water stages in general, but the water stages in Sonic in particular are like by far the worst part of Sonic.
The water stages in Sonic are so strange. I thought Mania does a better job with them than most of the other Sonic games, because there's the introduction of like well, I don't know if this is unique to Mania, but like you get the bubble power up, but you're in an air bubble, so like you don't have to worry about oxygen. And then I think he can bounce when he's in that one. And then this is from Sonic 3, where Sonic is like clinging to poles, like as like a torrent of water is like pushing him along. So I thought they handled it better than other Sonic games. But yes, the water stages in Sonic are strange because he's still running underwater.
It's like slow.
Yeah, it's just so odd. But that aside, it's been really fun. What else have I been playing? I got Cruisin' Blast the other day. And so anybody who grew up with a Nintendo 64 probably played the Cruisin' game. So Cruisin' USA, I think Cruising San Francisco.
Wasn't there also
Cruising
wasn't there also Cruising World?
Cruising World.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of cruising games, and
Yeah.
they're just these arcade racers. And Cruising Blast is totally just cut from the same cloth. Looks better than those games, with today's, advanced graphics. But I thought it was really well done.
Is it the same series or a spiritual successor?
It must be the same series because it's actual Cruising. And I think it's even the same font.
Okay.
So it's been revived. I hope they make another one. I thought my only real negative with it was I thought it was a little on the short side, but very well done.
Okay.
And then Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, the remakes came out. Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, whatever they're called. Those are pretty cool so far. I was kind of surprised Nintendo Life gave them a 6. They were just okay. And I won't go into all their nitpicks, but I'm not that far in. I'm probably maybe 2 to 3 hours into the game. I've gotten my first gym badge. I think they're really cool. I think part of the problem is that Diamond and Pearl aren't necessarily my favorite Pokemon games anyway. So that is already kind of not a negative, but it's definitely not positive. And the chibi art style, I don't hate it, but I guess it feels a little bit odd considering we've already had Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and those are basically remakes of the first game, Red and Blue, but they don't have that chibi look, and yet it still has that feel of those original games. And then you get Sword and Shield, which is skews much more towards the actual anime. But then you get these games where it's the chibi look, and I totally understand the implementation. If you play the original games, you are chibi characters. There's no other way to put it. But part of it was due to the limitation of the hardware. Then you get to the DS era, and it's sort of just carried over. Now this is a more modern interpretation of it, and I don't know. I'm having trouble with it. I don't hate it. I just am not loving it the way that I loved the looks in the other two games. But it's the battling's fun. It's just typical Pokemon stuff. Random battles are back, and I think they've been toned down a little bit. I have not been as tortured as in some of the older games.
You
with
mean
it.
fewer random battles or easier random battles?
Fewer. Although I think, with the exception of Shield, although Sword and Shield are not hard by any means, but I think that these later games are made to be a little easier to get through. And I almost kind of wonder if this remake of Diamond and Pearl is meant to be maybe more for the younger players, the way that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are. But it's been fun so far.
This was also the fate of the Final Fantasy remakes, in general, at least. When they remade Final Fantasy 1 and 2 for the GBA, just completely gutted the difficulty for them. Which I'm sure is to some people's taste. Probably was a better choice for the audience of people who were playing Game Boy Advance versus NES. But, it can be a letdown for people who are used to the older, tougher difficulty.
The only thing I will say is that it has been kind of fun seeing people who are around my age and Angela's age talking about these games, because they're totally just tripping over the nostalgia of it. I can't. So many people I've heard talk about the pre-order bonuses for Diamond and Pearl, and how there were those styluses that came out, and all these people talking about how they either wanted them or didn't get them, or they really loved getting those styluses, and then now kind of wondering about the pre-order bonus at GameStop. It comes with the pins, right? I want the pins. I didn't get the I didn't get the stylus. I want the pins now. Very interesting. So we're far enough away from those games that those are the first Pokemon games for a certain crowd of people. And obviously it's going to be the case for every Pokemon game that comes out, but, we're already on it's the 20th anniversary? Is that what we're celebrating for Pokemon right now?
I think it's the 25th.
Is it 25th? It's Pokemon 25, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 25 years of it. It's just amazing how fast all that time is going by. Yeah, I guess, and the last point, the Animal Crossing DLC, it's awesome. The Happy Home designer stuff is just so fun. And I remember playing Happy Home Designer on the 3DS quite a bit, but like, if I had to describe the entire thing to you right now, I wouldn't be able to get beyond like the different furniture choices and the better placement options. My brain's like a blank when it comes to that game, and I invested hours into it. But going through the DLC with the Happy Home Paradise, it's like a total reminder of why I loved it so much. It's so fun that when you get back to your island and you have to kind of decorate the old-fashioned way for the most part, it's like kind of a letdown. It's like, man, I gotta like build this stupid partition wall. I have to like, I have to go customize all these things. I can't just like being able to just pluck and pull from everything when you're designing in that mode is just so fun. I wish there was a way to just carry it over, but it's really, really neat stuff. And then like some of the items that have been added, like the cars. Like I love putting a car outside of the little houses, even if it doesn't make any sense. It's like you're on an island, but who cares?
It's like Hawaii.
But yeah, that's been really fun and really well done. And like it's odd because New Horizons came out at the height of the pandemic, and that is probably the Animal Crossing that I've played the least of. I think I stopped playing it daily around maybe May of this year, maybe earlier than that. Somewhere between March, April, May, I just like kind of stopped. And
It's still like a year, right?
yeah, but even within that year, it wasn't like hardcore everyday playing, which is just strange considering we had nothing to do for so much of the pandemic. But this has really pulled me back in. I've been very pleasantly surprised by this DLC.
I don't care for Animal Crossing. I do not understand the appeal, but I've seen Angela be really happy and invested in Happy Home Designer, so I'm glad you guys got a DLC that met and or exceeded your expectations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trash game, though.
You have a trash opinion.
Oh, I see. All right.
Get out of here.
Filled with hate.
So we are here to once again celebrate the 15th anniversary of the PlayStation 3. Wait, no. The other console that came out
The better console.
right around that time. And which I think all of us probably got before we got a PS3.
You had to have, yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure.
We're talking about Nintendo Wii. AKA Revolution.
And indeed it was.
Yeah, so this came out, like the PS3, came out 15 years ago, 2006, holiday season. So yeah, all three of us, I guess, got a Wii, if not at launch, then probably...
We got ours in the summer after it launched.
Cool. I remember having to look around for it, and it was definitely... I don't remember this for previous consoles, but the Wii was the first one I remember where I couldn't get my hands on it when I wanted to.
Yeah, I believe we got our Wii at the GameStop on Hagenberger in Oakland. And that was before they closed it. I don't remember why we were there, but we went in and they had Wii bundles. And we were with our aunt. And we were like, oh, they actually have it. Like, it was the first time we'd actually seen one in the store. And so we totally swooped on it and took it home. And Wii Sports was the pack-in game. And man, that was a game changer. That game was so fun.
Yep. A lot of memories. The Wii, when I think of the Wii, I just think of summer. Playing with our cousins, or just playing, whatever games we were playing at the time. But when I think of Wii Sports, I think of our cousin Stephanie. She had developed this incredibly exaggerated throw. It was for bowling in Wii Sports. And she was very proud of herself because it actually worked. It kind of reminded me of Elaine's dancing, where it's just like every ounce of her energy was just like thrown into her body. That's what Steph would do. She'd just like take the Wii remote and just like almost like do this exaggerated uppercut, but like throw her whole body into it towards the TV screen. And
very distinctive, iconic bowling motion.
And it would work too.
So you mentioned Elaine, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, on that note, like, was Was this a conscious decision to do something goofy that happened to work on Steph's part?
It's not clear, but she at least was self-aware of the fact that it looked ridiculous. And she really leaned into it, but also it worked. It was effective.
Did either of you, I know, like, at launch, Nintendo was unaware of how wild and irresponsible people would be with their Wiimote motions.
Oh, yeah.
And there were a number of TVs around this great nation of ours and around the world that lost their lives in the middle of a game of Wii Tennis or Wii Bowling or something else.
Coffee tables.
And eventually...
People.
Nintendo...
How many people died?
Yeah. Took a Wii remote to the forehead.
Nintendo implemented a nanny state policy where they would... include a lanyard with the purchase.
Yeah, the wrist strap.
And every Wii game now, if you turn it on, will say like, hey, look,
Hey, moron.
before we get started, here's what I need you to do.
Yep. Make sure your wrist strap is securely
Leash
on.
yourself
Yes.
to the Wiimote. Did either of you know anyone who actually suffered a TV casualty?
No.
No.
Any injuries of note?
No.
No, I think we're all sensible people. I didn't know anyone dumb enough to fling it through a television.
No, not even my friends were that stupid. Saying something.
I did accidentally injure my ex when we were playing Wii Tennis, but it remained attached to my hand, the Wiimote. Just,
Okay.
So you were like Scorpion with the... Come here. In the forehead.
This was in the era before the strap. So this is just we were standing too close to each other and
Yeah.
Okay.
had a forehand swing that gave her a case of tennis elbow, if you will.
Wow. Yeah, are we... So I think there's the launch Wii... And then there's the phase after that came with the wrist straps, because there's redesigned wrist straps that came out. We have like the original wrist straps that they released, but I also think that our boxes, or our box came with the Wii Sports sticker slapped on it. I don't think the first Wii bundles came with the actual sticker on it, but it was such a huge selling point that they ended up adding that on. So like, as though everyone didn't know. It's like, you don't need to say it. They're coming to buy it. They know why they're buying it, but that's on our box.
Yep.
My Wii came from Sears. It's the only console I've ever bought from Sears. Maybe the only thing I've ever bought from Sears that wasn't pants. Something like that.
No, we grew up going in and out of Sears.
But I remember when
Dad was a big fan. He was a big fan.
Yep, this is serious.
Yep. Appliances.
I wasn't a homeowner at the time, so like I wasn't really in the market for appliances. I didn't need to like buy a stove, buy a fridge.
He wasn't a
right?
homeowner until 2004. We were just going there
It's true. I mean,
for all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, parents would go there for clothes. They
Back
also,
to school shopping.
yeah, they had a lot of good sales back to school, and then yard appliance, not appliances, like tools. You know? Yeah, like that kind of stuff, like weed whackers and stuff. And then when they bought the house, then it was like the washing machine or.
Look, I'm being unduly dismissive of Sears. I did buy some cookware there. Also, I think I bought my tent and sleeping bag there, and they had a whole like as seen on TV section.
Oh yes, probably also why our dad like that stuff. He likes that stuff.
But I remember when I was looking for a Wii, they were so scarce. Like you had to know, it's like it is with the PS5 and Series X now, where you had to like know when the shipments were going to happen and where they would be. So I was like calling around and I had asked at Sears and they were like, oh, we should be getting a shipment at like this day. We open at this time. So you should be at this store at this time in order to get one. And I did. They only had, I think, 2 or 3 that they got. And
Oh, man.
Oh wow.
sucks for the person behind me in line, but
How much was the Wii at launch? Wasn't it just like $300 or something?
I feel like it was 3.
Or was it 2 something?
it was probably 3.
I think it was 300.
Pretty reasonable.
I don't know how many years after the Wii this was. I'm pretty sure I was in college. Had to have been, I think. But a red version of the Wii came out. And that's
Probably from Mario Kart or Mario.
it was wasn't it the
New Super Mario Bros.
Yeah,
No.
Oh, was it All Stars?
It might have been part of the well, what anniversary was that? The 25th for Mario?
Let's see, they just celebrated 35th, right?
Yeah, it was the 25th anniversary. I think that was part of why they put out the red Wii.
Yeah, whatever exactly that was. I got that as a gift, and so that's actually mine, which you should think is kind of cool that I have the red Wii. My thing has always been, particularly for the handhelds, for like the DSs and 3DSs and stuff, I like the special edition ones. So I've always waited, like starting from the original DS, I would wait. Like I didn't get the original like silver DS. I got the red one that came with Mario Kart DS. And then like for the DS Lite, I got the Zelda one with Phantom Hourglass, and it has like the Triforce on the cover, and so on and so on. And so with the Wii, the red one is mine. Red is my favorite color anyway. So yeah, I don't remember though how long after the Wii launched that came out.
It was a while. That was your graduation gift, I thought, from like high school.
For high school? So that would have been 2009?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've told this story before, but the black Wii is what I wanted desperately, because all the mock-ups, they showed the different colors of the console, and they only came out with the white at launch. And I was like, man, I wish this thing, I wish it would do black. And so we got the Wii that summer, but I don't know how long after that. I ended up getting my own Wii, because we have our game consoles at our grandma's house growing up. And so I had my own Wii. It was white, had a ton of games I downloaded to it. And then the black Wii came out. And I remember being so frustrated because Nintendo did not have dedicated accounts at that point. And so even though I had downloaded all these games, they wouldn't give them back to you. You couldn't re-download them. So I took my Wii into my local GameStop downtown, and I told the guys there, because I knew them, I was like, all right, I'm trading in my Wii. I want the black Wii. And they're like, okay. But they're checking the system out as they do at GameStop, and they're looking at all the games. And I told them before they started it, I was like, my Wii has a bunch of games. I go, if I was one of you guys, I wouldn't factory reset it. I would set it aside and just buy it. And so they kind of laughed and were like, yeah, okay. But then they were scrolling through everything I had bought, and they were like, oh, he's not lying. He does have a lot of games on here. So one of them set it aside so that they could buy it. And then I went home and
so you
got my black Wii.
Wasted how many dollars worth of software purchases just to change the color of your Wii?
I don't know. Don't worry about it.
I do worry about it. This is ridiculous.
It was necessary. I had to have the black Wii. I still have it to this day. In fact, I hooked it back up recently because the Wii Mini, for some reason, does not let you put the component cables in.
I completely forgot the Wii Mini existed.
That thing's worth money now, too. I remember getting that at Walmart.
I'm sorry, there was a Wii Mini?
Yeah, it was $200. It was black and red, came with the red controllers, had a spring-loaded lid that opened, so you didn't feed the disc into it, and it had no internet capabilities.
And no GameCube capability.
No GameCube, although they got rid of that on the regular Wii after a certain point. But
the backwards compatible with the GameCube, the backwards compatible Wiis were pretty desirable when I worked at GameStop. People would come in specifically asking for those, and they would sell faster than the Wiis that had that capability removed.
Yeah, so right now I have because I wanted the higher fidelity image. I got hold of component cables not too long ago, and I had not actually hooked them into the Wii, and so I was like, oh, the Wii Mini won't take them. So I was like, you know what? I have not hooked my Wii up in a long time. And my Wii U has like a dead optical drive or something, so that's been just sort of sidelined. So I did the transfer where all the stuff from your Wii went to the Wii U, which that's its own story I think I've told before where it all got deleted. But anyway, so the black Wii has just kind of been sitting. So I was like, all right, I'm going to hook this thing up. So I did put the component cables. And then I was like, wow, not only can I play the Wii games and they're a little sharper, I can actually do the progressive scan mode for GameCube games, because that black Wii has the backwards compatibility. Oh man, it's great. All the GameCube games look super crisp on the screen.
Dark days before Dolphin.
So we need to talk about the Miis.
Yes. So we discovered that you could max out at 100 Miis on the Mii channel because we may or may not have spent many hours creating the weirdest, ugliest Miis we possibly could.
I think 99% of them are not safe for work, so
Yeah.
we can't exactly talk about them. But just
Some are like inside jokes, but others are just like
caricatures and just
it's like Twitter vomited into the Mii channel, and then this is everyone that's posting.
yeah.
We saw the future.
Yeah. They're just insulting little caricatures of people.
They're great.
Yeah. Of no one, not real people. Just
Oh, I mean, let's face it, you throw a rock and it's the Twitter crowd. You're going to hit somebody.
All right.
I mean, they're not like, it's not a caricature of a real person, of like a celebrity or a politician or
They're
something.
types.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And then when you play games where they populate with Mii characters, like all the weirdos we have are in the background, it's like, oh, God.
Yeah, like all the Wii Sports games, like you're playing bowling, and like if somebody accidentally throws the ball into the crowd behind you, and everybody goes, oh, and spins around, and you see all
the freaking
these weirdos.
That was a weird thing about the Miis. I like the Miis, and certainly they were a lot more successful than the Xbox equivalent. I don't know if you remember those.
Those avatars, the Xbox avatars. Actually, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Go ahead.
But I remember, like the Wii was a social console, and people would come over, and you get like, I don't know, like a dinner party or just a group of people over, and everyone would take a couple minutes to make their Wii or their Mii, and then 2 years later you're playing Wii tennis or whatever, and it's like, I haven't seen that person in 2 years, but every time I turn on the Wii, there they are.
Yeah.
They came to a dinner party once. They moved out of state a year and a half ago, but they're just automatically populating whatever game I'm playing.
Yeah, I think my ex's Mii is actually still on our Wii. So that's interesting.
It was fun creating family members and getting them to look almost identical.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd laugh because you'd show them, hey, look, here's your Mii. It's like, oh, it looks just like me.
Our cousin Dom, it looks just dead on him.
Does Dom think it looks dead on him? Okay.
It is like, it's almost annoying how much it looks like him.
And then there's always the person who makes the Mii where it's like, doesn't really look like him.
Yeah, it's kind of generic.
You don't know what to do. It's just like, well, your nose is bigger, but all right.
Yeah.
This is actually like it was hard because I feel like I realized when I was making my Mii, and then again with like the Xbox avatar, and then when I was playing Rock Band also, like I don't have that strong a sense of what I look like in a way that can be applied to character creation. And I think other people don't have that problem to the same degree.
I think there's maybe some artistic element to it a little bit. Like I think if you're an artist, like you're working with the creation tools, it's just like another,
It's also just
another implement.
Yeah, that's a little bit of it, and also just having just a good sense of just having like a strong vision in your head of either what you look like or what that other person looks like.
But like picking out a nose shape or an eye shape, like I can be looking at a picture of me and looking at the character creator and like I have no idea like which nose shape or which eye shape.
Well, part of it I think is a little bit of humility. I'm not saying you're not humble, but just that you have to kind of look and go, yeah, my nose is shaped like a tomato. Give me the weirdo nose.
Yeah. Or the thing that actually frustrated me about the noses was that they looked more accurate. Some of them looked more accurate from the side. So you'd be looking at it head on and thinking, my nose doesn't look like that. But then you'd spin the character, into to their profile, and you're like, okay, well that works. But you rarely ever saw your Mii in its profile. Mm-hmm. So that was a little frustrating for me. The nose was something that didn't quite 100% work for me.
Zack mentioned the Xbox avatars. They still are there, I think. I don't think they've ever been gotten rid of yet. Although I don't know about the series. But it's funny because Xbox's response was the avatars. And then Sony had whatever they called theirs. But Sony's was like, so you had the super cartoony Wii ones. Then you had the less cartoony Xbox ones, which were fine. It was like, here's the Mii, but a little more detail. You can put clothes, whatever. then here comes Sony, and I think Sony's were just like hyper realistic, right? Like you were supposed to try to make like.
I don't remember. Was this like associated with like PlayStation Home?
Yes, and wasn't Home basically like the?
We should have talked about Home last time, but
the prototype version of Metaverse. Because weren't you supposed to like go in there with your avatar and hang out and all this other crap? Like there were games to play. And...
I completely forgot about all that.
But I do think that alone among these various avatar implementations, that the Nintendo Miis have kind of a, if not, I don't know if timeless appeal is the right way to say it, but you know, you see them pop up in like a Mario Kart lobby, and it's still kind of like funny or charming. Like the designs still hold up. It's still.
What's funny to me...
I think better than even the avatars for the Xbox.
Oh,
well, yeah.
Totally.
Those look terrible when they launched, and I don't know why you would even entertain any thought to the contrary.
They're all right. You know they are doing the design one, but...
I liked that the Miis, people would get creative. Like they would use the mouth shapes to create other facial features. Although it would look kind of weird if they used like an eyeball or something, because the eyes blink.
Where it's not supposed to.
So like if they used it like somewhere on the forehead and then it just starts blinking, like if it's in a lobby or something.
How many eyes can you put on? Can you make like an Argos?
No, I think it restricts you to one element per.
Yeah, but
people have just all sorts of ways of messing with that stuff.
And people would also use the different shapes to create inappropriate things, like a wang. Like you're in the Mario Kart lobby, like, oh, okay.
Well, one thing that's interesting about the Wii era is that's when the quote-unquote Nintendo's doing its own thing stuff started. And I'm like, I think that what ended up happening is you had... Now, it's not like it's totally untrue. But I do think that you had Sony and you had Microsoft, and they were both like, oh yeah, we've got these badass online HD consoles that do all this crap. And Nintendo's like, haha, here's our funny console that's not HD, it has motion controls and isn't graphically as powerful. Oh, and by the way, we're winning. We're selling more than either of you.
Yep.
And I think that because the industry like wants consumers to accept certain things, it just totally screwed them up. Because it's like, well, we want them to have to pay hundreds, and it's these consoles that have all these features and they're HD. We need to say that they're doing their own thing, even though they're doing the same thing as us. We're going to say it's something different, because otherwise we have to reevaluate our entire existence.
I can't quite follow what you're saying. Like, who are the people making these claims? And like,
well,
because they're clearly, like, even as you were describing, they're clearly doing a different thing, right? Like the whole,
not really.
Yeah,
I mean, like Sony ends up adopting the motion controls. Kinect comes along. They end up mimicking them.
Okay, but like, look.
The Kinect was the closest mimic.
You can see the PS2 is a stronger version of the PS1, and the PS3 is a stronger version of the PS2. The Wii is not just a stronger version of the GameCube. The Wii is like off in a different direction with a totally different vision of how a family is supposed to engage with.
I think to an extent, but I also think that the narrative is bigger, better. That's what game consoles are. They have to be bigger, they have to be better, they have to do more. And then the Wii comes along and it's like, not really. Like, here's a whole new game console. Now, it's definitely not as strong as the other two, but it is stronger than a GameCube. And
it's not really saying much, which is why people insulted it by calling it 3 GameCubes strapped together.
I'm saying the corporate narrative is you have to want this bigger, better thing. And then the thing that wasn't quite bigger, but was in a way better because it had the new control setup, this thing comes, everybody wants it, and they're kind of left like, well, how's this working? Like, I think it threw a lot of these executives for a loop, because it's like, well, our whole thing is we got to make it bigger, we've got to make it better. You add these different features, and then Nintendo comes along, and it's like, here, it's underpowered, but it's funner to play because of these motion controls. And I just think it threw everybody for a loop.
Yeah, look, I don't want to get wrapped around the axle on this, but like, clearly, as you're describing it, Nintendo is doing a different thing, but you're like a whatever. Okay, but moving on. Like, Nintendo can do that though, and the others can't. Like, Kinect failed, Move failed, right? The Move controllers have kind of had like a second life as part of the VR setup, right? Kinect is just gone, and it's not because the Kinect technology is bad. It's just
the games were just whatever.
That's the thing. This is why Nintendo can make the DS.
The games are what matter.
This is why and why like the cool features on like the Vita never really went anywhere. Like aside from that, what was that one game, Tearaway, that used the actual like touch panel on the back of the Vita? Like Sony and Microsoft have the money to, but not the like design talent or maybe just interest in actually like creating a killer app for this stuff.
Well, I mean, if you think about like DS and PSP, I mean, you could maybe argue the same thing. Nintendo went in a different direction because the DS introduced the touchscreen and the double screens, and the PSP was just like this stronger handheld and got totally obliterated by DS. Well,
PSP did not get obliterated.
Not totally obliterated. That Vita is what really fell off. PSP made a dent, but the DS was way more successful.
PSP made more than a dent. It is the most successful non-Nintendo handheld.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't sell anywhere near as much as the DS, right?
No, but it was still like an unqualified success.
Anyway, Zack and his data interpretation. Anyway, I just think that part of what made Wii work so well is it's like, not accessibility. I mean, accessibility is part of it, but the approachability of it. Because it's like, swing this controller, poke the controller at the screen, like the simple motions. And even though buttons are still involved, like that was so much easier for people to just grapple with. Now, I have not played with the motion controls on PS3, but you had to use the camera, right? Like you had to have the PS3 camera for it.
That's right.
So I think even just setting it up was probably a barrier of entry for some people, where it's like, okay, you have to go buy the camera, which is separate, and then you hook it up, and this is how you hook it up, and then you hook up the controllers, and it's like the Wii is just, everything was just made to seamlessly work together.
Yeah, I think
everything in the box ready for you to play out of the box.
I think the separate purchase is the biggest thing, because like you still had to set up the Wii, you had to like connect the sensor bar, right? But yeah, you would have to get not just the Move controllers. So like, right, so the PS3 is more expensive to start with. Then you have to buy extra controllers because the controllers that came with the system won't work for this. Then you also have to get this camera.
And then, you know, maybe your local either GameStop or Walmart or Target or Best Buy doesn't have the camera. They're sold out of the camera. They have the motion controllers, but they don't have the camera, or vice versa. And then you have to go to another store. It's just a whole mess just to get set up with the motion controls, as opposed to the Wii. This is what it is.
I think the motion control setup, obviously the motion controls of the Wii are compromised in some ways. Like they're not as accurate, especially the launch version, right? Like the gyro and the original Wii controller.
Which they addressed with the Motion Plus, which was extremely necessary for Skyward Sword. I think Skyward Sword would have been not unplayable. I think it's a little hyperbolic, but nowhere near as enjoyable from a motion control standpoint if the Motion Plus had not been a thing.
But what bums me out is like, you know, this does relate to, I guess, the industry, or not even the industry, but like the player reception to the Wii, the kind of hostility to like the non-traditional controls of the Wii. Like motion controls got associated with the Wiimote and with casual games. And like motion controls are actually awesome. Like gyro controls are great for a large number of games, and there are even gyros in the Switch and PlayStation controllers, but most people don't make games that really take advantage of those gyros because like the consumer interest got associated with, you know, the family fun time game machine that Nintendo put out.
You know, I have mixed feelings on motion controls. Like for games like Mario Kart Wii, I didn't actually enjoy using motion controls.
I hated it. One of our cousins, she loves it. I can't stand it.
I don't like it. And Skyward Sword has there are a lot of reasons I don't care for that game, but one of the reasons is the motion controls. But then there are games that I love. We played for hours, like both of the Wii Sports games, or Link's Crossbow Training. Like there were games where the motion controls were implemented and I enjoyed it, but when given a choice, and especially if the game gives you a choice, use motion controls or not, I will not use them.
I don't like them as an alternative for standard controls for a lot of games, but they can even augment them. This is a bit of a tangent because it's not really about the Wii, although it is Nintendo, but like certain games on Switch that are like first person or third person shooters, you can aim with the sticks, but like fine tune aim with the gyros.
People ask for it too.
Yeah, because it's great.
Countless developers talk about it. I think, man, id develops Doom. Is that right?
Yeah.
It might have been them. It was somebody who put out a game recently. It was a Switch, first person shooter, and somebody was talking crap because they were saying we're putting the motion controls in. And they were like, basically, like, who cares? And then the developer actually fired back and was just like, lots of people want it. Like, lots of people want this crap. Like,
if
you don't know what you're talking about.
Console, like, controller versus controller PvP in a shooter, like, and one of those people has gyro and the other one doesn't, there's no contest. Like, the gyro gives you so much fast, fine controlled aiming compared to the sticks.
Well, it's probably the closest thing to a mouse,
yes, right? Yeah.
Well, I remember Call of Duty on Wii was fun. I mean, it didn't look anywhere near as good, and the online was nowhere near as robust. But you could get into a lobby and play motion control Call of Duty, and it was pretty entertaining. Well, I think in terms of the hardcore versus casual crowd, I mean, Satoru Iwata, the former Nintendo president, he talked about things that he wanted to do with Wii. And, like, for instance, he wanted it to be a remote. Like, I guess he was, like, fanatical about insisting it is not a controller, it's the Wii remote. And he wanted people to be, like, reflexively engaging with their Wii as much as they do, like, a television set. But I don't know how much Nintendo could have predicted, like, the casual just explosion with Wii. But I think that maybe one negative of it was that Nintendo kind of was like, whoa, we have this whole new audience of the casual crowd, and kind of leaned on them too hard at first. Mm-hmm. Because there's plenty of, like, I would argue kind of core games to play on Wii, but it's overshadowed by the shovelware casual crap. And then there's the good casual stuff too. Like the Wii Sports stuff is good. There's other third-party casual games that are fun, but that created just like a whole flashpoint in the industry. And I mean, not to go back too much, but like with the Sony Microsoft thing, they were thrown off by it. They were just like, this is how you do video games. And then Nintendo comes up and it's like, it is just the game machine, but the motion controls created this difference that was able to draw in more people. So yes, it becomes its own kind of thing, but it also is just, these are video games, but here's a new way of playing them. And suddenly people who never cared are interested. And just, I mean, the impact was enormous. It was just amazing. We had family members who were playing who never played anything. You know, they'd come in and try the bowling or they'd try the baseball. Mm-hmm. And it's just a testament to how creative that system was.
Yeah, I mean, it has its pros and cons, right? I do think Nintendo was maybe not assuming they would get the kind of smash success they had, but was aiming for it, right? In terms of like framing it as like a device that had different TV channels and a remote. Like they're not looking to focus on like the core gaming audience that had GameCubes and PS2s and doing that. They are trying to cast a net to fish for a different audience, right? And you can see that in the pack-in game, Wii Sports, right? Like that is something that requires no literacy with previous games. You don't have to know any of the tropes or genres of other games. It's like, hey, you know these games. You know tennis. You know bowling.
It was the second time without a Mario game. But even Luigi's Mansion like is Mario adjacent. Mm-hmm. But like this was just straight up, don't even worry about Mario or his brother. Mm-hmm. Like we're just going to do this game that is its own thing. Yeah. And like to Zach's point, like those are kind of easy to grasp sports, you know, or games. It's like, you know, everybody knows what baseball is. Everybody knows what golf is. Like all these just sort of simple things. And
they took a more complicated game like baseball and simplified it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
But even to the extent that baseball is complicated, it's still something that a much wider selection of the worldwide populace knows before picking up the system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the core player, though, I mean, some of those people obviously migrated to Sony and Xbox, but that migration had already kind of started with the GameCube, PS2, Xbox era. Because GameCube was, I guess, mostly a failure for Nintendo in terms of sales. And Wii was sort of considered this like last shot. And like if we don't get it this time, we're not going to get it again. And so there was a lot riding on it doing well. But once those first couple years of like the super casual focus started to die down, like there was the disastrous Wii Music experiment, right?
Yeah.
And that E3, and then Nintendo kind of comes back swinging. I forget the year, but it's the E3 when Donkey Kong Country Returns shows up. That was like, that E3 in particular, I recall just being very happy because it's like, okay, here's some of the other games Nintendo makes. It's not just, the Wii Sports kind of stuff. And finding that middle ground was nice because it's like, hey, I'm down for some Wii Sports, but like I also need some Donkey Kong Country, so give us both. It kind of makes you wonder if, well, I mean, Switch is its own beast, but I don't know, Switch kind of feels like maybe it's in that middle ground that we discovered later.
I wish it was more in that way. I do feel like there's been kind of a drought of games from Nintendo specifically. Like there's some decent ports and stuff, but I do think, I don't know, maybe it's a different dynamic, but there have been times during the Switch's lifespan where I've been like, oh, here we go again, right? Like Nintendo not putting out, like, where is the new Donkey Kong? Where is the new this? Where is the new that, right? Where is something different?
There were a couple of ports on the Wii that I felt I felt that the games felt incredibly natural. One was Okami. I spent a whole summer playing that game. I think it was either the summer before my junior year or my senior year in high school. I think it was my senior year. And it's not that it took me the whole summer. It's that was the game I was playing that summer between all the other just things I was doing in the summer. But it felt super natural. Really, really. I mean, like, the Wii remote is the paintbrush. And the control scheme was really intuitive. It was very fun to play Okami on the Wii. And then years later, I had moved out, graduated college, working my first career type job. And I was living in an apartment building in Oakland, and I had a little studio. And there was the washroom was downstairs. And in the washroom was a free pile. You see, if you had something you wanted to give away, anyone in the building could take it. And I went down there to do my laundry. And I found a bunch of cool stuff in that free pile. But one thing I found was a copy of Resident Evil 4 for the Wii. It was pristine. Like, the disc was not a scratch on it. The case still felt pretty new. I actually kind of thought maybe it was the result of like a breakup. Like Resident Evil 4 got left in somebody's apartment. They're like, just take it. I don't want it. So I grabbed it and I played RE4 on the Wii and it felt great. I loved playing RE4 on the Wii.
Yeah.
I mean, you played before that, though.
I did.
Yeah,
but,
because that was a big deal when it came out. And I remember we were obsessed with that game.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
But that was actually my introduction to Resident Evil 4, the Wii version.
But it was when I found that copy, I just remember I played it again and I was just like, this is just it's so good. It's just like a perfect match control scheme wise.
It's interesting because the Wii era was like the DS era, very experimental in terms of the game design. And like the weirdo games that came out at that point, which you're not seeing now. It's like when the DS transitioned to the 3DS, it was sad because a lot of the experimentation went away. And I feel like the industry, well, it's weird because like the industry is shrinking in terms of the AAA. The indie stuff is expanding. But like during the DS era, you had all these different developers making these weirdo touchscreen games, not just with the touchscreen, but the dual screens. And then the Wii era too, you had all these people taking stabs at these motion controls. And I mean, the Switch can do anything that the Wii could, but it doesn't. It's like, you don't have even half of those kind of motion-based games. And it's I definitely fall into the camp. I prefer traditional button inputs. Like, and if I have a choice between motion and button, 99 out of 100 times I'm going to choose the buttons. But I do miss seeing the really random stuff that people were making. And part of it was just like learning this new technology. But
part of it is the novelty, right?
Yes.
Like novelty only works for so long. The interest in like, oh, I wonder what the world of games on a touchscreen is, or what kind of things we can do with the remote, like both for the developer side, but also the audience side. It's just not going to sell the same if somebody makes a game like that on Switch as it did on Wii.
Well, it's funny too, because if you played Wii games, you could sit and be like, you don't have to waggle to do this. And like it's obvious, but like it's still like in my brain, it felt like proof of this was when the port of Mario Galaxy came out on Switch. And I remember thinking back in the day, you could just press a button and Mario would still be able to do his little flourish that he does at the end with the was his partner, the Luma. Mm-hmm. And then in Mario Galaxy on Switch, you can do that. You just press a button instead of doing the shake. Mm-hmm. And all the motion controls are like that. I mean, even Donkey Kong's pounding and Donkey Kong Country Returns, you don't have to shake the Wii remote up and down. You can press shoulder buttons, and then boom, that's what you get in Tropical Freeze.
I think we all understand. And I think people, like gamers, reviewers, whatever, understood at the time that, like, the waggle sucked. It sucked everywhere. Sometimes it was fine, but there's no case where, like, the waggle was implemented in a way that you could translate into a button input that wouldn't have been better if it were just a button input. Like Mario Galaxy would have been better if you could just press a button to do that spin. Donkey Kong Country Returns would have been better if you could just press a button to do that pound, right? Like it makes those versions of the games worse. The 3DS version of Donkey Kong Country Returns is better despite a worse frame rate, worse resolution, right? Tiny screen, just because you don't have to waggle the damn controller every 5 seconds.
I think some of it, though, I don't know if I'd say is better, but like the motion of making Mario do the flourish with the Luma at the end, like I have muscle memory for that. Mm-hmm. And when I was playing it on Switch, like I could, like you get good enough with this stuff, like you can figure out how to just barely move your hand and get some of the motions to work. And so, like, there was this slight intonation of my wrist that I could do, and Mario would do his flourish. And it was so satisfying. Like, that game in particular, Mario feels very acrobatic to me. And, like, the way he's flying and all that. So, like, when I'd play the Wii version, something about having in your hands the two separate remotes, the nunchuck, the Wii remote, and the way you just felt so free and loose as you were playing it. Like, it doesn't quite feel the same with the controller. And I'm not saying the controller feels bad, but there is a difference to it. And in some of the games on Wii, I really liked that relaxed feeling while you were playing.
I get what you mean. I don't think the waggle motion is relaxed, but I do think that, I would play games, and this isn't going to come through on a podcast, but I'd be sitting on my couch and have like my elbows both back on the back of the couch, one holding the nunchuck, one holding the Wiimote, and that would be a perfectly comfortable and totally laid back way to play. It's funny. I don't mean to disparage like the motion controls more generally. It's just really the waggle motion for things that are like repeated precision actions in games that like I really disliked.
Well, I think like a lot of the better games didn't lean as much on the waggle.
We were just talking about Mario Galaxy.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's not like you're shaking it like a madman. You just kind of give it it's like a flick of the wrist, and Mario does his little extra jump. Mm-hmm. Metroid Prime 3. Prime 3 is interesting because it even incorporates the motion sensing of the nunchuck, which wasn't always used as much. That was the grapple with that was just, it's so satisfying. The way that you would arc your arm out and Samus would grab onto things and then you jerk back and it would mimic it. It's like she's doing exactly what you're doing with your wrist right now. That was really fun. And
I do like Sorry, you're still going on Metroid. I was going to come up with another example, but
just that. I mean, and then the aiming is fun too, right? And works really well in Metroid Prime 3. But I think when it's done right, and it has to be like the perfect mix of things, those motion controls could be really fun. The waggle more often than not was just like lazy developer. Just shake it.
It worked for me in No More Heroes because it's more of just like a flourish or finisher to do like the wrestling moves or or like the blade kills. Like I think that's a good implementation because it's not really disrupting the flow, and it's not like you're in the middle of a platforming segment and you need to worry about like, did I waggle it enough or am I about to fall into a pit now?
Yeah, and then you have like there were times where it felt like Nintendo was also maybe getting a little, I don't know if cocky's the word, but like you had the Pro Controller. You could hook the Pro Controller into the Wii Remote and play games using a normal controller. It's like you could play some of the Call of Duties that way, that GoldenEye remake that they did. There were games that used it. But then Nintendo would be like, for everything but our games, it's like, oh, Donkey Kong Country Returns. We're not going to let you remap any of the buttons to the Pro Controller and just play it with that. You have to play with either the Nunchuck and Wii Remote or the Wii Remote by itself.
They have a repeat problem of using their differentiators as like must-use features because like that has to be like central to the experience of the game.
Well, we were talking last night, the three of us, we had eaten dinner and I was playing Sin and Punishment on the Switch, on the expansion pack for Switch Online. And I died, and it asked me to enter my name. And so instinctively, I go to press the D-pad to move left and right, to cycle through the names, because it's just a list. And the N64 era, I can't think of but a handful of times where you ever use that giant-ass D-pad. And like, it was probably one of the best D-pads they ever made. Never got to use it for anything. And it was like there, a legacy of it. You can't just cycle through arbitrarily because Nintendo's like, oh no, the analog stick's the most important thing now. Don't use the D-pad for, the basic menu selection. And so, like, look at Other M on Wii. That game would have benefited from probably being playable with that Pro Controller, but they insisted it had to be the sideways Wii Remote.
This mentality runs through a lot of the things that Nintendo does. It's like how the latest iteration of Link in Smash Bros. Ultimate has to be like, they don't even give you the option of making him look like Link from, say, Ocarina or Twilight Princess. He has to be Link from Breath of the Wild because this is Link now. And the closest the bone they're gonna throw you is is like the Tunic of the Wild or whatever, the one that's like green and sort of looks like Link's original outfit. That's what they're going to give you. Or how they will not refer back to certain things ever again. Like Mario's never had his cape since Mario World.
I want his flight suit back from Galaxy, where he's in the black.
I appreciate that Robert brought up both Metroid and Nintendo not letting you use a D-pad as it relates to Dread.
Oh,
but you only have 2D movement in Dread. In Other M, she moves up and down into the screen. Right. It's not just flat.
But just the
nice try, Bucko.
No, I'm saying like this is the thing. Like they just arbitrarily deciding what you can and can't have. Like Nintendo does not believe.
Yeah, just the
people should be able to choose things.
Like the point, point being that Nintendo doesn't. They want to control how you're thinking about the characters, and they want to control how you play the game. Even like not even necessarily giving you an option. Like like for Sin and Punishment, you can't scroll through these names using both either the analog or the D-pad. It's just the analog because this is an analog world now in the N64 era. We're moving away from the D-pad, even though we put a D-pad on the controller.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you just like for the... I know the answer is that Nintendo didn't want to put in the effort, but why would you not, for like Sin and Punishment, for example, map the D-pad to the analog stick at the very least, right? So that the either one could actually move the cursor for the name input.
Well, the funny thing is that you use the D-pad during gameplay in this version on the Switch. So I think the only other time I played Sin and Punishment was on Wii U when that came. Was it on Wii U?
Oh, is it doing like C-stick stuff?
Yes. I'm trying to remember which console had it on Virtual Console. It was either Wii U's Virtual Console or it was the Wii's. Regardless, you were not playing with an N64 controller.
Yeah.
So this version, using a Switch Pro controller, the way I play it is I use the D-pad to strafe, so moving left and right. You can use the L button to jump, and then the right stick you're using to aim everywhere. And it works beautifully, but then when you get to the menu, the D-pad is suddenly dead. It doesn't work. Okay. But like the motion controls, but it's interesting because, you know, again, you have Sony and Microsoft. It's like, well, we're doing our own thing. And then they continuously were mimicking because the motion controls came to both those consoles. It's like, here's our version with Kinect. Here's our version with PlayStation Motion or whatever they called it. And then when Wii U came, see, nobody knew Wii U was going to be a failure. So when Wii U launched, the mimicry continued because that's when the second screen experience became a fixation of everyone. Because the gamepad had the big screen in the middle. And so every game was like, you have the TV, but then you have the element that's in your hand on the screen below. And you could do that with Microsoft Glass, I think it was, where you could have the second screen for your game on Xbox. And then Sony, I'm trying to think of how they did it. It might have been with the Vita in some cases. But that quickly went away when the Wii U failed. But, like, despite being its own thing, the mimicry was big because, like, the impact with the Wii was so strong. It was
It's like it's kind of Wii U mimicry, and you can definitely see that in the timing. But, like,
there was no coincidence with that.
Well, I mean, like,
especially when it disappeared, that wasn't coincidence.
It's
either.
not like Nintendo even invented that. Because like you also had this with like the Dreamcast VMU and then like the GBA and GameCube connection before that also, right? Like the Wii U was a version of that.
Set the world on fire.
The Wii U didn't set the world on fire either, though. Like
it failed, but I'm saying the motion controls mattered. Interestingly, though, I think somebody was like, "Well, the DS has 2 screens." Let's do that for the home console. And it's like, yeah, but you're failing to understand how it works on the handheld. Isn't going to translate well to the screen. Because, like, there's the Kirby's Rainbow Curse, I think is the DS one. No, Canvas Curse was the DS game where you're controlling with the stylus. They made the Wii U version of it, which was Rainbow something. And it was not the same experience. Because it's like, hey, man, the TV's up in front of me. You expect me to look at the TV and down at my lap, like, to do the stylus stuff? Like, all I need is the gamepad right now.
Yeah. Look, Nintendo did a version of something that both Nintendo and other companies had played with before. It looked like it was going to be a decent play, so then you saw Sony and Microsoft try and do versions of that, but it's not.
I think they were mostly concerned just with the fact that Wii was the success it was. It was like, we can't drop the ball. Like, you know, whatever they're doing out of the gate, we have to do too, in case it's, you know, catches fire.
Feature parity, right? Because if somebody makes a game, like, obviously, if Nintendo makes a game, it's not going to end up on Xbox. But if, like, Activision makes a game that relies on that second screen, Microsoft wants to make sure that it can be ported to the Xbox, right? So you need that feature parity in order to make sure that that's possible.
But in terms of games, you know, Angela touched on this. There was the Okami port. We all love the Resident Evil 4 port. Twilight Princess, you know, on Wii, that was a big deal. It was pretty cool that Nintendo made sure to release the GameCube version as well. I prefer the GameCube version, but the Wii version is fascinating because you have the widescreen support for it. And now I'm somebody who likes Skyward Sword, but I thought the use of the motion controls in Twilight Princess were like hit or miss.
Yeah,
like I like that you could turn them off. You know, there was ways around it. Because, like, swinging the remote to make Link swing his sword in Twilight Princess on Wii was just not very good.
I mean, they were essentially patched into a GameCube game, right?
That's right.
So they felt like they were patched into a GameCube game.
Yeah.
I think Twilight Princess was probably my first game on Wii. And I have fond memories of playing it. I also have fond memories of using it to hack my Wii via the Banner Bomb exploit that I'm sure both of you remember from reading GBA Temp back in the day.
Not at all.
It was actually
somebody listening is like, oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah. I think the original Xbox was the first home console I hacked, but the Wii would have been second. And I remember, you know, putting on all sorts of Super Nintendo and N64 ROMs that were not available for purchase, and Also, Tatsunoko versus Capcom really did not look like it was going to come out in the US, and I wanted to play it on my US Wii. So I
Wow. That's a good
You had
fighting game.
only been patient.
That was a good fighting game. I wish it would get ported to something. It's still just on the Wii. Some of the oddball games, like Zack and Wiki. Oh, I love that game. An early game from Capcom. You're like a treasure hunter or something?
Yeah, you're like a child treasure hunter and a monkey.
Yeah, that game was cool because it made good use of the motion controls. It looked really nice too. You know, I know you were saying, the GameCube, three GameCubes bolted together, but a lot of the Wii games I thought were beautiful. Like Mario Galaxy is beautiful, whether it was in high res or not, and Twilight Princess looked really good. Donkey Kong Country was another one that looked really, really nice.
Yeah, but you told me you thought Mario Sunshine had the most beautiful water in any game ever,
and it does.
And that's a GameCube game, so this doesn't seem at all inconsistent with the three GameCubes bolted together hypothesis.
Well, in fairness, the water in Mario Galaxy is nice. It's not quite Mario Sunshine nice, so they managed to go backwards there. But anyway, a lot of those Nintendo games, just the way Nintendo would, every system Nintendo has, they managed to get the most out of it. But
well, they know their hardware.
Now, this is slightly unfair because I was playing it on Wii U at the time, but Angela and her ex were watching me play, and I was playing Metroid Prime 3, and it was upscaled to whatever it is when you play a Wii game on a Wii U, and her boyfriend was like, "This is a Wii game?" And I said, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's not even a Wii U game. Like, this is a Wii game." And he was really shocked at the fidelity. Like, it just looks so good. And then you have plenty of games that look like crap on the Wii, but plenty that looked really good for what they were. I think we talked about this when Skyward came out, but part of what makes Skyward work on Wii is that it isn't super crisp HD. It lends to the watercolor aesthetic that you can clearly see they were going for in a lot of different elements of that game. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of lost in the newer version because now it's like everything's super crisp and it looks good, but it's like old tube TVs and like Super Nintendo and NES.
No, we're not
games.
going down this road again.
Well, I mean, they were made for the tube TV.
You said tube TVs, you're getting cut off.
Anyway. But,
so here's a game that I think is kind of forgotten, underappreciated, but very good and could only work on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
Koro Rinpa Marble Mania.
I have not played that.
It's do you know those I think the game is called Labyrinth. It's like a wooden box with like a maze with holes, and you have two dials on the sides, and you're steering a marble because you're tilting the top layer that has the maze on it. Koro Rinpa is it controls like that. You play as Anthony Ant. He's stuck in on a marble or a hamster wheel kind of thing. So like Super Monkey Ball, and you play with the remote held flat, and you tilt it, and it tilts the entire board. So it's a setup that's not that dissimilar from like Monkey Ball, but it's more of it's less of kind of like crazy navigation obstacle courses the way the Monkey Ball is, where you're like racing and collecting bananas, and it's more like these contained almost puzzly boards. Super simple. I think it's by Hudson. It had a sequel I never played, but even just the original, it's just it's a really cool experience just using the Wiimote like that. I would hold it between my two hands and tilt it. It felt more natural.
This was localized here?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not something part of your hacked Wii.
Even though it has a weird name like Koro Rinpa, yes.
It's ironic you mentioned that. There was another Hudson game. I believe it is the last Hudson game. It's called Lost in Shadow, if I'm remembering correctly. It has a little bit of an Ico vibe to it, and you are a shadow that's cast on a wall, and you're trying to reunite with your body, and so you're going up this castle the entire time, and it plays 2D, but it's just really clever. The aesthetic is everything's like shadows, but the background elements are the different bits of the castle. Really fun, and it's a shame that Hudson eventually died. Hudson made the Bomberman games for people who don't know them now.
Did they get like bought by Konami?
Yeah, Konami bought them so they could do
R.I.P.
nothing with them.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to buy up Konami's catalog. I kind of wish Capcom would buy up all of Konami's back catalog. Say, just give us everything. You go do your stupid fitness centers and pachinko machines.
Capcom's got enough going on.
But yeah, that was a fun one. I think that the WarioWare on Wii was pretty good.
Yeah, I remember having a lot of fun with that.
What was that one called again?
Shake It?
Yeah. No, that's Wario Land Shake It.
Oh,
Smooth Moves.
Smooth Moves, yeah.
That was actually the first Wario game I didn't really like as much. I thought that the three handheld ones that came before it were just masterpieces.
Oh,
but
definitely
the Wii,
superior.
Oh, yeah.
But the Wii one, I kind of bounced off. I played it in like a party or two and was like, I'm good.
I had fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Shake It is good too, though. Like as a platformer, that's a fun platformer. And it made an interesting use of the motion controls where like in lieu of having a right stick, you would press a button down and then you would tilt the Wii remote and then that would angle where Wario was going to like toss whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. And a great visual style. It looked like a cartoon. That was another Wii game that was just like deceptively gorgeous, despite being on the underpowered console. We also had a ton of little peripherals. I just remember all these garbage peripherals that you could buy at like places like Ross.
Like the things you would stick your remote into.
Yeah, like now it's a tennis racket. Now it's this and that. Just, oh man, how many junky plastic little toys are now in a landfill somewhere? What was the... Link's crossbow training came bundled, but I forget what the peripheral was called. It was the Zapper, right? And like, I think, isn't that the only game pretty much that Nintendo made that used it?
Didn't that Nintendo made, but didn't those like House of the Dead games use that?
Yeah,
Probably.
Probably the Resident Evil Light Gun games, right? Dark Side
Yeah.
Chronicles and Umbrella Chronicles.
Yeah.
Those were kind of fun.
I think my dad played those and said they were good. I never played them though.
I like Ghost Squad on Wii. That was a fun, just arcade style light gun game. That was fun. No real Pokemon to speak of. There was the battling game, which was like, the latest version of Coliseum, but they didn't call it that. It was like Battle Revolution, I think. There was that, but like no dipping the toes into the waters of a actual RPG. Because GameCube at least had those two Pokemon RPGs, but they didn't attempt anything like that for Wii. It was just spin-off stuff like Poke Park 1 and 2.
Can I ask? I think you guys mentioned this earlier. I never did, but I think the only online thing I used the Wii for was like there was like a channel where you would vote on things.
I forgot about
that?
the vote channel, yeah.
And like checking the weather or whatever. But like other than that, I didn't really use the online features of the Wii. Did either of you play like Call of Duty online on the Wii?
I played some Call of Duty online. I was saying earlier it was fairly competent for what it was.
Yeah.
There was, of course, the virtual console. That was a big deal for Wii. And it doesn't really count as online, but I spent a lot of time online downloading different games. And like that part of Wii was also, that felt really monumental, where it was just like, oh my God, like look at all these different games you can get. I remember being super jealous because Japanese Club Nintendo members could redeem points to get a Super Nintendo controller that you could plug in to the Wii remote. And it was a replica. It was the replica that they ended up using for the SNES Mini in Japan. And because it's the same plug. Like if you look at the plugs on the front of the mini consoles, they are the jacks for the Wii remotes.
Oh, yeah.
So you could technically just share them. But man, I was jealous. And then the Pro Controller came out, and the Pro Controller was advertised as you can use it for these virtual console games. And I really loved the first virtual console Pro Controller. It was just an SNES pad, and it had the two analog sticks on it. And then somebody sued or told Nintendo it's too close to this design that we had. And then Nintendo came out with what is basically the Pro Controller now. It has the dual handles on it, and then the triggers like we're used to, but that first iteration of it was more like an SNES pad.
The classic controller?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Classic controller. I forgot. That's what it was called, right?
Yep.
Not Pro Controller. It was the classic controller.
Yeah.
Oh no, hold on.
So
Classic controller Pro, I think.
No, it's just classic
there
controller.
were two different classic controllers, and I think the one with the arms was called the Pro.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
There was the original classic controller, which was shaped kind of a shape reminiscent to the Super Nintendo controller, and then there was the Pro, which came out, which had little arms.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Wii has a few Virtual Console releases that it's sad that they're still locked to it, because Earthbound. Actually, this might be Wii U. I take it back. But there was Earthbound Zero, which was the NES Earthbound. So that was localized, never released, and then Nintendo was just like, well, we technically did this work 20 years ago.
Actually,
put it on the Virtual Console.
You just made me think, was the Classic Controller Pro a Wii U peripheral?
No.
Okay.
Because the Wii U had the actual Pro Controller.
Right.
I think
Which I have.
The second one on the Wii was like black though, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
you can get it in white though.
So,
okay. I think I only ever saw it in
the
white.
original Classic Controller was only available in white,
Yep.
but the Pro was available in black and white.
And gold.
Yeah.
I got the gold one with the GoldenEye bundle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my prized possessions. There's also the gold nunchuck, which I think Angela has.
I have that. It was
And
a
then-
Club Nintendo.
Yep. And then
Prize.
the gold Wii remote, which was what came out with Skyward.
Yeah.
That was really cool. All the colors were fun. They never gave us green. That was one of the prototype things that they had marketing materials for. They never did the green, which I would have loved, but you had black and blue and white, and then the character controllers for the Wii remotes. I have all those. The Mario, Toad, Luigi, Peach,
Bowser.
Yeah, that was like a cool era for. I don't know. Like it feels like every era is like this incomplete brink of perfection with certain Nintendo consoles. Like there's all these things we did like really right, and I'm like, oh yeah, you have all the N64 games and Super Nintendo and NES, and then all the cool Wii games, but like. The motion control stuff was like, you don't quite have the setup you want for everything. And now, like with the Switch, it's like, oh wow, I have my N64 and Super Nintendo games. I can't own any of them. They're making us rent them forever. Like
You got to stop paying for it. It's the only way they're going to learn.
we talked about this in the PS3 episode we did, but that whole generation, there's something special about it in my mind. It might just be because of the point in my life when I was playing all that stuff and it was new, but I was freshly in college, no real true responsibilities at that point, and I just remember spending so much time, playing with my Wii and all those different games, and just having so much fun, with them. Mario All-Stars got re-released on there. That was really fun. The Kirby Anniversary Collection. Just felt like a lot of impactful things were happening during that era, and it was very memorable.
Disagree. I'm not sure what else to say about the Wii. Any other games either of you want to make sure don't get forgotten? Or it's too late, they've already been forgotten?
No, I think maybe the final game I'll mention to close things out was Brawl. Smash Bros. Brawl had a lot of cool moments, including Snake, which was really unexpected and a cool surprise. Just like I think didn't that game also have Sonic?
Yeah, it had Sonic. Remember, Brawl had the big media buildup.
Yep.
Remember the website you could go to?
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, there was a website. I think they would have like profiles of different characters like every so often.
I kind of remember you checking it regularly.
I did, yeah. But yeah, that would be maybe the last game that I'll mention. It was. I mean, it also had the annoying feature they introduced of characters tripping.
Yeah, glad that's gone.
Yeah, but
that was their way of trying to Mario Kart it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a great game.
Trying to make it not viable as a competitive game, right? Like they've been fighting. Nintendo's never wanted Smash to be a competitive game, and when Melee took off, they disliked that, right? The trip is part of them trying to make it non-viable.
Yeah, non-viable, but also to, quote-unquote level the playing field. So if you're kicking everybody's ass, you can randomly fall, and then, it's a chance for somebody to overtake you. It's like, oh, God. Like, go play something else. I mean, we're forgetting Sonic and the Secret Rings, of course.
I don't know what that is, so I can't say I've forgotten it.
Shameful. One of the greatest Sonic platformers ever, unless it's not. That was an early motion control game that was very rough. We also got Black Knight and Sonic Unleashed, which are whatever, but Sonic Colors came out on Wii, and that's still one of the best Sonic 3D games ever made.
That was Wii exclusive, or at least it was at the time. I don't know if it's been ported since then.
Yeah, they just did the HD port across everything. Can't forget Excite Truck. Excite Truck was pretty fun.
The best thing about Excite Truck, by which I mean the only good thing about Excite Truck, is the name. The idea that a sequel to Excite Bike would be called Excite Truck.
It was fun. For what it was. I feel like we're forgetting a bunch of games, though. Like, we had a lot of software. Not all of it was just shovel crap, either. Like, there was a lot of games on there.
Yeah.
I mean, Cookie Mama came to Wii. I never thought it was anywhere near as good as it was on DS, but it was a fun diversion, sitting there chopping vegetables with the Wii remote.
I had a lot of fun with, I guess Brawl was not the last game I would mention. Muramasa the Demon Blade.
Ah, yes.
It's a kind of a niche game, but really beautiful, really fun.
Vanillaware.
Yeah.
Another one, deceptively beautiful. Wii game.
Yeah. But we kind of reached the odds and ends stage of the podcast. Maybe this is a good sign that we should maybe wrap it up. Check back in on the Wii's legacy in another 15 years. And for now, thank you for joining us for episode 19 of the 7 Minutes Podcast.
Thank you.
Toodaloo.